I was just out cutting wood, and I was thinking about inspiration and the difference between being inspired to do something when you're not doing it and then being inspired to do something while you are doing it. There's a huge difference between these two things. Being inspired, thinking about possibly doing something, isn't really that useful, especially if you can't take that inspiration with you when you're actually doing the thing. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, that would be so great, I'll do that, or whatever, and then they get to the point where they can do it, and they're like, well, maybe I won't do it today. I'll do it some other time. Here's a perfect example. Girlfriends who offer back rubs, who say, oh, you're doing all this stuff, I'll give you a back rub later. And then later they're like, well, can you take a rain check on that? No, that's not the best example. It just happened recently, so I thought it was kind of funny. I'll probably get smacked for saying that later. Anyway, I learned a lot about this stuff running track. It's a perfect example of something where you know there's some hard stuff to do and you can be inspired to do it, and that can help while you're doing it. But anyway, it would be so easy to think about running across the track, like just going so fast and just feeling great and being all smooth and quick, at night when I wasn't running. And then the next day at track practice, I'd start like that, but then halfway through the practice, I'd start getting tired, and it would be harder and harder to feel that inspiration and be like, oh, I'm going, and the fire would kind of go out. And then, the same thing would happen that night. It would be easy to think about it and dream about, oh, running so fast and doing a great job and not getting, worn out so bad. I mean, you're going to get tired, but there's a difference between getting physically tired and just, mentally getting worn out and drained and, losing your fire. So I found that if I minimized my feelings of inspiration when I wasn't doing anything, if I was just sitting around thinking about it, thinking about running, I'd start getting pins and needles and get all inspired, like, ooh, but I'd take those pins and needles and shut them down and just be like, no, I gotta save that for when I'm actually doing it. I'm not gonna waste inspiration when I'm not doing things. And then when I started doing that, it was kind of an experiment at the time, but then I would get to practice, and then this inspiration that was kind of choked off, and I was like, all right, inspiration, go ahead, do your thing. These little monsters would come out and be like, oh, we're going crazy. And then, I wouldn't get so worn out, mentally and stuff. And this is also why I get a little concerned, not concerned, but I'm a little wary of people who always talk about music all the time. Because music can really give you feelings of inspiration, make you feel great, like you can do anything. But a lot of times, when people listen to music, it inspires them to do nothing. Except, just sit there. They're listening to the music, feeling this inspiration. It's like a drug. Yeah, this feels great. Then they end up just doing nothing with it. And that's kind of a waste of time. And the more they feel inspired and do nothing with it, the more they train themselves to do nothing when they're inspired. So, they just end up doing nothing except sitting around trying to get this feeling of inspiration with more music and louder and, stuff like that. And then they end up not even having any time to think for themselves, and it just it's just kind of a crappy cycle. Not that I'm against music, I like music. It's pretty cool. Actually, I like to, sometimes when I'm exercising or something, I'll put on some techno music, because that gets me wired and pumped up, But I try not to listen to a lot of music when I'm just hanging around, because then it wastes all this inspiration. So I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. Sure makes sense to me though. Oh, and there's another example where this comes up a lot. People who, there's a lot, not everyone, definitely not even close to the majority. There's a small percentage of these people who send me messages saying, dude, you're not doing enough lately. You're inspiring and everything and it's awesome, but I'm starting to get tired. You haven't put up a video in 5 days. Come on, man. We're your fans. You gotta do stuff for us, because we're sitting on our asses doing nothing for you except just complaining, and you gotta do more videos, man. And that's only a small portion of people. Don't worry, the rest of you are awesome. Dude, I'm totally psyched about the awesome fans. But anyway, that's just not useful to sit around and just watch other people doing stuff all the time and be like, yeah, I'm so inspired, and then just do nothing. People have different skill levels and stuff, and maybe you'd love to do the same stuff I do, but you can't because you have no legs or something. Or maybe you're like, wow, that's so inspirational, but I don't really like doing that stuff. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. You can get inspired to do anything. You know, find a hobby, whatever. Figure out what you like to do and totally get inspired to do that. I think I've gone off rambling. And this is also why, in a lot of circumstances, when I'm doing like big projects or stuff, I'll start out very melancholy. I'll be very calm at the beginning. And sometimes people are like, dude, aren't you excited? This is so exciting! I'm so like, yeah! And I'm just like, yes, I am excited. But I'm going to start going, and I'm not gonna like, you know, get all crazy. And then like half an hour later, or 4 hours later, or 3 days later, you know, people are starting to waver. And I mean, that's when my inspiration is starting to build up more, because I wasn't wasting it all when I wasn't doing anything. I was starting up. And then I get to the point where I'm like lifting 400 pounds with each arm, and I'm like, that's when I'm like, this is starting to get, oh, wait a minute, here we go. Instead of, you know, being like, roar at the beginning, because if you're like, roar, and you don't even have any weight on, then you just get used to being like, roar, and like not really doing anything. You gotta save your roar when you have like stuff going on. Please excuse me. I'm going to now calmly go out and carry some wood up the mountain. I better take my camera with me. I've got giant robot number 37 in the works, whatever you call it. All right, bye.